Back to Cliff and Puck live from Radio Row in Atlanta for our exclusive coverage of Super Bowl 53. Brought to you by Zeke's Pizza, homegrown in the Northwest. On your one and only home for the NFL, Seattle's Sports Radio 950, KJR.
And welcome back to Radio Row. Cliff and Puck with you. It's brought to you by Zeke's Pizza, also the Emerald Queen Casino. Oh, well, this is a treat. Because sitting down with us is former NFL quarterback Jeff Garcia, who, of course, played for the San Francisco 49ers. I think when you think Jeff Garcia, I always think San Francisco 49ers. He played and coached in the CFL. And then who wandered by? But it's former 49ers assistant, former Seahawks head coach. We kind of know him because he works at our radio station. It's Mike Holmgren.
Yes.
Well, it's nice to be here. The only reason I sat down because I heard Jeff was going to be here.
Yeah, because you're definitely trying to run off.
No, actually, I don't get a chance to talk to Cliff and Jason at home that much. So this is fun for me. It's nice.
But Jeff looked like he could still play.
Oh, he does.
Definitely looks like he still play.
Hey, I'm coaching flag football kids now. I got to show them what it's all about.
What it looks like, huh?
Do your kids play? Are you coaching your kids or are you just coaching kids?
No, I'm coaching my kids. I have 4, 7 through 10 years old. My girls play flag football. My boys play flag football. So right now that's how they're being introduced to the game. But my boys want to play. My girls want to play tackle football as well. So when I feel the time is right, I'll let them do it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So this is a thing we, us athletes, get asked a lot is, will we let our kids play? Me personally, my kids aren't playing until high school. But what's that look like for you? Like, how will you gauge when you allow them to play tackle football?
I think I want my kids to at least have a year or two. If they really love the game of football, they want to play the game of football, they need to have a year or two before they get into high school. Because I don't want them showing up freshman day and getting the snot knocked out of them and being like, oh, Dad, I don't like getting hit.
This ain't for me.
I want them to get introduced to that, at least understand that, right?
Understandable.
I started playing football when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The thought of concussions, we were wearing not very good equipment either.
Yeah.
But the thought of concussions and those things happening just didn't seem to happen back then. Maybe obviously the protocol is different today. We're much more aware of it. But I think kids are okay. I think that as long as my guys are physically ready to go out there and understand that they're going to get hit in the mouth maybe and learn how to do it properly, right? Getting your head out of when you're tackling. But I'm supportive of it, man. I know that there are a lot of leagues that are folding because the parents and the interest just isn't there, and a lot are going into the flag football realm. Now, we didn't have that opportunity growing up. There wasn't any flag football. It was you either play tackle or you're out in the street playing with your buddies.
Yeah.
That was it.
How old are your grandkids, Mike?
They range from graduating from high school now down to 4, but the 4 boys, 5 girls and 4 boys, the boys are the younger ones, so they're 10. They're not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. But my daughter Gretchen coached a flag football team in Seattle, and I talked to one of the parents. I'd go to the games. It was a blast because her kids are little. They're 8 years old. One of the dads came up to me and goes, when I saw it was a woman coaching the team, I was worried about my kid. But then I saw she had this playbook. I saw the playbook. And then I saw that she was your daughter. I was okay.
I knew I was good.
When she called the plays like you did she put up the play sheet over her mouth so no one could see?
No,
not there yet?
The only reason I used to do that was because I had a particularly rough game. It was probably when Jeff was playing and he beat me, that I would use bad language on occasion. And so
just once in a while.
On Monday, I always told my mom in the nursing home. She was in a nursing home. She loved football. She watched the games. And I'd say, hey, Mom, how you doing? We had a tough one yesterday. She didn't want to talk about that. She goes, Michael, I can read lips. And you have a responsibility to young men and young people. And so I started doing that. Not to hide the play call, just – and I'm not proud of it. I matured later. I was better later.
I didn't have that paper to put in front of my mouth. So people could easily read my lips. When the camera was on me, they knew what was coming out of my mouth.
Did you guys ever, again, now Jeff Garcia is with us, a former NFL quarterback, spent some time, obviously, with the 49ers, and then Mike Holmgren, of course, is with us as well. We got them both here. Did you guys almost cross paths at all? Did you almost sign with the team that you're with?
We did, and, I really looked at playing for Coach Holmgren as something that would have benefited me as a player, and what he was doing in Seattle at the time was awesome. The situation was this, though. I was coming out of being a starter in Cleveland. It was a rough year. I had an opportunity, whether it was Seattle, Denver, Tampa Bay, or Detroit, to decide what was going to be my next situation where I had a chance to compete and be a starter. And of those 4 teams, really only Detroit offered me that opportunity. The other situations with Hasselbeck in Seattle, Jake Plummer in Denver, and Rob Johnson in Tampa, they were set at the quarterback position. Now, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm a competitive SOB, and I wasn't ready to relinquish that. Plus, I had Coach Mariucci in Detroit, so I thought that was a natural fit for me. Unfortunately, Detroit was a lot like Cleveland and just couldn't get out of their own way in a lot of ways, and it was a struggle.
I know all about that. I was there for 5 years. I was there for 5 years.
And that's the year Denver goes to the AFC Championship game, loses to Pittsburgh. Seattle goes to the Super Bowl in Detroit.
Right.
And,
and we're gonna talk about this because I don't know if you've seen what's happened about what's come out of that.
No.
Super Bowl.
But just understand, it's taken me a few years to get over it. Are you going to bring it up again?
No. This is something. It's serious. I'll bring it. I don't want you to go anywhere.
What I was saying was Seattle had a great year that year.
Yeah, they did. They were great. They were awesome. What? Hey, you played. You never coached at anything in the CFL, did you, Mike?
No.
Nothing. No.
No.
You played up there and you coached up there.
Yes.
I'm just curious. What would there ever be? There's been some talk about allowing replay to look at pass interference. They do that in the CFL. Did you know that, Mike? You get one challenge on pass interference.
I heard that after this controversy that took place. Yeah.
What other rule is there another rule you would like to see maybe the NFL implement from the CFL? Can I tell you my favorite one?
Go for it.
Is the wide receivers being able to run the running start before the ball is snapped. Look at Mike.
A whole extra 30 yards on the route.
Take that one away because that's silly, but I'm silly. Is there anything that you like about that league?
Hey, first of all, there's too much tweaking going on of
year in and year out
the NFL football game to me. Like, why are you trying to fix something that's not broke? Now, I get trying to protect players, but let's be honest. It's a gladiator sport. Yeah. It's a physical game. We know what we sign up for. You actually end up putting yourself in more risky situations because you're trying to adapt your body at the last second to some sort of hit that's not natural to you, instead of going about it how you have gone about it for years upon years.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a rule change, there's not much that I would even think about changing. But one thing I do like about the CFL, with punt returns, there aren't any fair catches. Now, you have to give a 5-yard halo around the player, but every punt is returned. Okay, otherwise it's a penalty, right? If you're within the 5 yards, there's a potential 5 or 15-yard penalty, depending on how violent it could potentially be. But players learn that they need to give them that little window, and guys need to return punts,
I thought they didn't have a halo. I was about to say, boy, guys are getting teed
destroyed.
They'd be out of the game. But here's one thing, though, about the NFL game, and we could talk about basketball as well. The players have outgrown the dimensions of the field. One thing about the Canadian Football League is you got an extra 13 yards of width. Now, you can't extend length, but you can widen fields, more room, more windows or space between potential collisions. Like basketball. They've outgrown the court, the dimensions, the height of the basket, all those things. Guys are just covering too much ground too fast these days.
I like that
That's
part.
Really a good point. And I've never heard anyone say that, but that's really a good point. But, for years I was on the competition committee. We're talking about tweaking the game.
Right.
And we had a kind of a basic rule of the guys on there for rules and just when things would come up. If there had to be a significant pattern before you even thought about tweaking a rule, it couldn't be one play that hurt a real big-time team. That was bad and it was wrong, but you don't change this because of one play.
Right.
And so I'm with you, Jeff, on that. It's just be careful. It's a great game. And mistakes take place, and the one the other day was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. I'll be the first one to say it. But I wouldn't be for tweaking a bunch of stuff.
I know you got to go. Tell him about. Do you know what CBD is?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you tell him what it is.
Cannabinoid that comes from a couple different plants. Now, the marijuana plant, cannabis, has CBD. CBD has a lot of benefits to the body. The brain, recovery, protection of the brain, anti-inflammatory reasons, body recovery, pain issues. But CBD also comes from the hemp plant that does not have THC ingredients or relations. So there's no psychoactive ingredients that are involved in we have developed in Guardian. Guardian is a sports nutrition hydration drink with 25 milligrams of nano CBD. Nano meaning that it's been developed in a way that is directly infused into your body. It's not going to take 45 minutes to an hour. It'll go into your bloodstream right away. This can help from the standpoint of brain protection as well as recovery, anti-inflammation. It's proven to be 10 to 20 times stronger than Tylenol or Advil, but without the downside of how Tylenol or Advil over time can affect your liver, your intestines. CBD is recognized by your body immediately, and it's something that our body functions off of. So this is a product that we've developed that we're excited to be able to launch here at the Super Bowl and hopefully launch to the public in the next couple months.
Is there a website?
Go to guardianathletic.com.
Okay.
Learn more about what CBD actually is. Learn that the hemp plant was approved by the president and the Farm Bill in 2018 as a total legal plant for production and for breaking down to sell in any form or matter. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah,
GuardianAthletic.com.
Not the stuff on Haight-Ashbury, okay? All right,
that's
Mike.
Right, I grew up.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, I know. That's what I pointed out. Jeff, pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Great to see you, Coach.
Take care.
Jeff Garcia with us. I got to continue with. I don't want you to go anywhere because you've got to hear this story.
Okay.
Okay. And so I'm actually glad you have not heard this. Curtis, do you have the audio, the 20-second clip? Okay. I'm going to try and turn you up a little bit. You got to listen to this. Okay. This is from an interview on KNBR in San Francisco. Okay, they have Tom Tolbert and John Lund have a professional handicap gambling expert on every week, and he's telling a story about. He was asked about if you ever thought a game in the NFL was fixed. The 2005 Super Bowl comes up between you guys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this 20-second clip is going to explain everything. But the premise of the question, the answer you're going to hear is, does this gentleman think that the 2005 game, the Super Bowl, was fixed and that there was a lot of money placed on this game? Here is Dennis Ranahan on KNBR.
Yeah, the head official in that game used to be a client of mine.
Really?
And he was the head official, and he was working through a guy that was a good friend of mine, and they were friends. So then I'm watching that Super Bowl and thinking, he's cheating. Those guys are obviously cheating.
Wow. You don't think that Seahawks Steelers game was
badly
on the take, was it? Do you think that?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
He goes on. There's a larger 5-minute clip of this.
Who was that gentleman?
His name is Dennis Ranahan. He's a handicapper. You know, when we bring on.
Does he live in Seattle?
No. He is. I don't know if he lives in Seattle or not. He just joins. You know, KNBR.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
He just does a weekly with these guys. He comes on picking games.
Okay.
And then this came out of the blue.
Wow.
And John Lund, Ian and I used to work with John Lund back in the day. He sent this to us. We played earlier a 5-minute clip that goes into more detail. The Cliff Notes version of it are that he heard through different channels that there was a lot of money put on the game. We're talking about $50 million put on this game, on the Super Bowl, and that they did bet on the game. Bill Levy, who he doesn't name in there, he says it's a lead official, was a client of his. So when he says a client, he was asking for advice on betting on games. Bill Levy, of course, as you know, was the lead official in that game, and says, without a doubt, goes on longer in the interview saying, yes, that their money was waged on the game, that's what led to the curious calls in the game, and now again, this is his opinion. When you hear something like that, and you're hearing it for the very first time, and you need to probably listen to the longer extended clip, and I'm sure you will when you're on with the other shows.
Open wound.
How do you react to that? The allegation is that that Super Bowl was fixed.
Well, you know what I've tell you, it's been, let's see, when was that? Not 2000, it's been 12 years.
Yeah.
13 years. And just about the time I kind of cleanse myself and am over it, someone at the airport or someone will come up to me and goes,
throw salt on it.
Hey, I'm really sorry about that game. That was real. I go, oh, and I start thinking about it again. I will tell you this. Bill Levy, I messed up in the game, first of all. Bill Levy was referee. He was a policeman in San Jose. I was a high school football coach. Bill did our games. I knew Bill very well. So now we both move into the NFL years later. He's doing that. He did a lot of our games. Good guy, one of the few officials I really liked, And so how I messed up in the game was going, Darrell Jackson got called early for that touchdown call back. There were some things happening I didn't like. And finally he came over, and it was a Pittsburgh crowd. They had sold all those towels. It was a Pittsburgh home game. It was loud for Pittsburgh. And he came over and he said, Hasselbeck is trying to draw the Steelers offside intentionally. I'm going, how? He goes, well, he's barking out the, he's barking out the signals. I said, have you not noticed this crowd? I said, look at it, he's got to do that. I can honestly tell you, we are not trying to do that. I will tell we are not trying to do that. He just got to let people know. And he goes, Mike, I got to call him for it. And that's when I made my screw up. I said, Bill, I hope this game isn't too big for you.
Ooh.
And I said, he looked at me. I was mad,
Yeah.
And I was dumb. I was really Cliff. I wasn't always like that.
But do you think there is a possibility? Maybe it's at that game. Do you think there's a possibility that an NFL game could be fixed?
I choose to believe no. But historically speaking, we've seen basketball games. We've seen
baseball
referees in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure, Tim Donaghy, yeah.
So is it possible? Yes. Did it happen? No. Why we lost that game is because we lost our free safety, Marquand Manuel. And we lost him, and we played a young guy who was on our practice squad, and then we had some bad calls, in my opinion. That's why we lost the football game. Unfortunately, that's not unlike the Rams playing
Saints,
the Saints.
Yeah.
You don't want. Cliff knows this. You give everything you got. You don't want the story of the Super Bowl to be about the officials. You don't want that. You want it to be about players. You want it to be about strategy and things like that.
It also goes with that piece too. Is like you never want to put the game in the ref's hands.
That's
either,
right.
Right.
That's right.
So you always want to be able to do the right things. So if they do make a call, it doesn't necessarily affect you to that extent.
Yeah. So I messed up by saying I shouldn't have said it. And I did. And
you said how you felt, Coach.
If that fired him up, and it was, what I do know this is that officials are human just like anybody else. You sting them, and all of a sudden they go. So if it comes to a close call.
Well, but I think what's important there. I mean, in a hypothetical world, if somehow this is true and it comes back, let's say the NFL investigates and it's true. Now it doesn't make up for anything. Pittsburgh still has the Super Bowl, and you guys don't. And I guess I'm asking you, how would you feel in a hypothetical world? Would it change anything for you if, let's say, the NFL investigates this, if they do, or it comes out that Bill Levy indeed was on the take on that game?
You know what? I love this game so much, and it's been so good to me. I'm one of the lucky ones. And I have Super Bowl rings. Where I would feel it most, honestly, was for those my players, who, and Cliff has a ring. You pay him money, and the money's great, and the money's super now, crazy money now. But I remember when we had our Super Bowl opening party, the ring party, and they put on the ring.
Yeah.
That ring, there you have it, hopefully for the rest of their life. It's special. It's something. That would be a shame. That would be the shame. And then a game I love so much. Boy, that part would bother me.
You know, but what you said earlier, I think when we talked about this earlier, and you talked about humans make mistakes, human error, like you miss a call in a game. But also being human, you can be susceptible to
a lot of different things.
A lot of different things, and money plays a big factor into something.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I hope it's not true.
Yeah.
I hope that it's not true, and that there's no ounce of truth to it, and they just had a bad game and they missed calls. But boy, it would be something in the world's biggest game.
Goodness me!
If there was something like that happened, because we obviously saw it in the NBA with Tim Donaghy, but that's in the regular season. Of stuff we know. We know about the White Sox, the Black Sox back in the day, 1919 World Series, but those are players.
Sure.
They're throwing games. So, well, welcome to Radio Row.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm kind of wearing two hats, this week. So this is fun. Good to see you guys, though. I mean, it's because can I hang out for? I won't bother anybody. But can I hang out for a couple more minutes?
Of course.
Yeah, we're gonna. Because he doesn't want to go. He wants to stay here. Because he doesn't want anybody else to grab him.
There you go.
No, did I say that?
Not his first
Did I
rodeo.
say that?
No, but I know that's
Don't
why.
put words in my mouth.
But that's what
you
you
know
do.
what I mean?
All right, well,
How's
are
the first
you on with
rodeo?
us tomorrow?
I said yeah, but it's
For an hour.
Yeah,
Are you regretting that?
how long? 1 to 2. 1 to 2. Yeah, yeah.
That's
that
good.
Right? Is that right?
Well, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah,
we
Of course
never
it's
get to
all
have
right.
him on.
Never get to have you on.
Everybody
Of course
else
it's
gets to
great.
have him.
I listen to you guys, and I think of the times I'm on with the other fellows over there, and I have to say this, and I say this with all. I say your show, and I every once in a while I'll go to Cliff. I'm going, you okay? Because your show, Jackson, you produce this show, don't you? All right. So I don't know who to. Your show is different. Let me just say that. So I'm pleased to be a part of it. I'm pleased to be a part of it.
Different in a good way or a bad? I don't know how to take that. Coach.
No, I'll let you make your own call on that.
Mike Holmgren.
I will say it's entertaining. It's
Thanks
entertaining.
nonetheless.
Yeah, I think. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, stick around. We're gonna chat with Ian Furness. We'll find out what's happening in his show.
Good. I'm on with Ian at today.
Well, that's all he's gonna talk to you about.
Yeah.
So we'll save it for Ian. We'll wrap up the show, day 3 here, Radio Row live here in Atlanta. Our coverage brought to you by Zeke's Pizza and the Emerald Queen Casino. Ian Furness coming up next.